Welcome to How to Play Ambient Guitar Episode 15. On today's video, I'd like to look at some ways that you can leverage the interval of a ninth to add depth and complexity to your chordal structures in your ambient guitar songs. So let's get right down to work. I guess first of all, what is the interval of a ninth? Let's just start there with the basics. It's simply one note, like that delay, with a second note, one octave and one whole step above. Okay? If you put both of those together, you will get this. And obviously the octave would sound like this. All right, and if you haven't already noticed, that was a C as the lower note and a D as the higher note. All right, so why would you use the interval of a ninth? Well, there's a bunch of reasons. One is because I really like them, so you should use, no, that's not the reason. No, ninths are very useful for creating tension in your music. You can have a regular major chord, which is really pleasant sounding, but there's not much tension in a C major chord. All right, so using the ninth then can allow you to interject some tension. So you could do it in a couple of ways. You could play a full C major chord and just add the interval of a ninth, in other words, the D, into that chord. And you can hear the tension there. That D wants to go somewhere. So maybe it wants to go up to the E, which would be the third of that chord, right? So remember, C, C, E, G, C major chord, right? Okay, so there are ways you can use the ninth interval within full chords. What I'd like to focus on today is not a full chord, it's actually a dyad. Okay, so a full chord would be composed of at least 3 different notes, like the C major chord, C, E, G. A dyad is an interval, a set of notes that is less than 3 and more than 1, so di, so 2, right? So it's a grouping of 2 notes, and it's used to imply chords. So you can do that in a couple of ways. So maybe I just have a C and a G. Okay, and that's not a full chord, but it implies a full C chord, either a C major or a C minor. So either one, it could imply, depending on the rest of your arrangement. But a dyad with a ninth implies a chord, but with a lot more tension. So let me play, again, that C with the D on top, just the 2 notes, and then I'm going to follow with a C major chord. And listen to how it implies the C major chord, but it's radically different in a lot of ways. Here we go. Okay, a lot of tension in there. There's no 5th interval, there's no 3rd interval, there's just the 1st, the C, and the 9th, the D. Now, what if, this is the way my mind works, what if you played a chord progression composed strictly of dyads? What would you get? So let me try that for you real quick, just to give you a taste of that. I'm going to play first an E minor to G to A. Just real simple. Again, these are just simple triad chords, triad meaning 3 notes to a chord. Here we go. All right. Pretty standard kind of chord progression, right? Let's listen to the dyad version of that using the interval of a ninth. So this will be the fifth string on the 7th fret, that'll give me an E, and the second string on the 7th fret, that will give me the F sharp, right? So, which would be a ninth above the E. Here we go. And then I'll just move it up 3 frets to the G, 2 frets to the A. Very, very different feel from and yet, if you were playing with other musicians, playing that chord progression, you could likely fit in that dyad into the overall arrangement of the song, and it would work. But on its own, it's very different sounding. Let's try one more very common progression, C, D, E minor. So 6, 7, and then 1 minor. Very, very famous common chord progression. Or if you've watched the rest of my How to Play Ambient Guitar series, you'll know that you can use some other chord voicings to get the implied chords. All right, that was a dyad with the first and the third, actually the first and the third above the octave. So now let's try it instead of... Let's try it with the ninth. So that would be a C with a D on top, and then a D with an E on top, and an E, did I say that right, with an F sharp on top. Here we go. Try the other one. Are you getting the impression I like a lot of tension in my music? The answer is yes. But I would encourage you to try some of these out to see if you can inject tension into your arrangements at appropriate points in time. Now, finally, where can you find these ninth intervals on the fretboard? Well, it's very easy. Simply put, if you take the first string on any fret and then just play the fourth string on the same fret, you'll have a ninth interval, right? So this would be an E to an F sharp, for example, and a G to an A. Okay, and then if you go down to the second string on any fret and then fret the fifth string on that same fret, you'll get another ninth interval there. Okay, and then finally, if you take the fourth string on any fret and then fret the sixth string on one fret higher, so if I've got my finger on the fourth string on the fifth fret, put your finger on the sixth string on the sixth fret, you'll also have a ninth. So if you practice those fingerings, you'll be able to move around pretty quickly to different chords. There you have it, some ways that you can leverage the interval of a ninth to add mystery and tension into your ambient guitar music. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel. I've got ambient guitar-related content coming every week. And as always, I'll see all of you on the next video.